J.J. McCarthy has been absolutely shredding the Vikings defense at training camp so far. So coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down everything you need to know about J.J. McCarthy specifically and what he's been doing at Vikings training camp. And then also later on, just want to get you guys the more overall takeaways from training camp. Is actually some players of the defensive line have been absolutely showing out so far during training camp. So first half of the show, J.J. McCarthy. Second half of today's show, general training camp takeaways from training camp so far. But before we dive into that, guys, I was looking at the analytics here, and we are closing in on 27,000 subscribers here on the channel. We just need 130 more of you guys to hit that sub button. My goal is to hit 28K for Adrian Peterson before the season starts. So let's get to 27K first, then we can get the 28K for the man AD, and I think that would be a pretty cool accomplishment here on the channel. So if you guys could, hit that subscribe button and lock us in. So all the latest reports we have been hearing is that number 9, J.J. McCarthy, the former Michigan quarterback, has been shredding the defense so far in camp. And, he's had some mechanical changes. He's had, some issues with throwing to his left. And it turns out all of those kind of red flags and, I guess, negatives around his game coming out of college have already been sort of masked throughout the NFL so far. But it's actually Will Regetz of SI, works with Score North, had this to say yesterday on J.J. McCarthy, saying J.J. McCarthy had a few quality throws of his own. The best was an impeccable placed ball, that's a great word from Will there, with touch to rookie tight end Trey Knox, who had gotten behind the defense. McCarthy was moving to his left and looked to almost be throwing off of his back foot when he dropped the ball right into the bucket to Knox for a big gain. McCarthy also found Thayer Thomas a few times. That's great to hear, specifically for McCarthy, as, unfortunately, media was not able to be at camp yesterday, and he had a viral clip. I wish it was out there on the Twitter land. I would have showed it for you guys, but media was not there. And listen, the one thing I love about JJ is he had that one really bad day where interceptions were an issue. He was very inaccurate. And then following that day, he has been on a heater of practice. I think that just speaks to his mental fortitude, speaks to his bounce back mentality. And that was the number one thing coming out of college. What was the one thing I loved about him the most? And what had JJ ranked as my second best quarterback in this year's class? Right here between the ears. It's the mindset. It's the mentality that he displays, and that's been on full display so far at Vikings training camp. But he also has made an important change to his stance in the shotgun. So if you guys haven't heard this yet, JJ, when he was in shotgun at Michigan, he had both of his feet lined up equally. But now, with the Vikings system, they have changed him to have his left foot forward in the shotgun. And, if any quarterback wants to talk about this or has talked about this, this is an incredible change. It's just a rhythm thing. But I think this means the Vikings, maybe they could be heading to some pistol offense or maybe adding some read triple option to their game. Kevin O'Connell has kind of hinted at that so far. So that was an important change made from McCarthy so far in his stance in the shotgun. But Alec Lewis also talked about his mechanics and how they've looked. And, Alec has been very tapped in with the Vikings this whole season. He said this. He said his mechanics looked more polished than they did this spring. Throwing left, not a consistent problem. Heaving it deep, McCarthy connected with Tristan Jackson Tuesday afternoon on a 50-yard strike down the field against the first-team defense. And, analysts, when they were evaluating JJ coming out of college, what did they say? He can't throw left, can't throw it deep. In training camp, that has not been an issue whatsoever. And it's just so funny when I have these experts, I have these draft analysts where they just talk about everything JJ can't do just because of his tape in a couple years at Michigan. If you went back to his high school tape at IMG, he was winning the most pass-heavy offenses in the entire country, winning state championships. He was throwing to his left. He was heaving it deep, no problem then. And my take on this is just because Michigan didn't ask JJ to throw it around didn't mean he couldn't. And I felt like people, anytime you hear like a elite expert talking about JJ coming out there all saying, oh, well, do you remember against Penn State, he didn't throw the ball a single time in the second half. I understand that. You obviously don't love that for the quarterback you were drafting in the first round, but that didn't mean he couldn't do it. And that's the thing that drove me crazy with these guys evaluating JJ. They just, had such a narrow mindset in evaluating him instead of looking at his whole career dating back to high school and understanding this guy was a 5-star recruit, 6'3", mobile quarterback, can touch every blade of grass on the football field. They didn't see that. They just saw the tape this past year at Michigan. I think he's going to be I think he's going to be proving a lot of people wrong. But Will also said this about JJ, saying this was another day where McCarthy's upside was evident. Even in his good plays, were mixed in with some learning moments. Following that deep ball to Jackson that Alec Lewis alluded to, McCarthy booted out left and showed his athleticism by scrambling for a decent gain when he couldn't find an open target. And I'll say this, I was wrong about the quarterback battle, 100%. I thought there was no doubt Sam Darnold was going to be QB1 versus the New York Giants. I was wrong. I think this is a toss-up as it stands right now. I would still give Sam Darnold the nod. I personally would still start Sam Darnold just because, you can start Sam Darnold then go to JJ. You can't start JJ and then go to Sam Darnold. That would just kill a kid's confidence. But this quarterback battle's heating up, and, I'm just overall just really starting to believe in JJ because, we knew up here he had the right mindset. We knew he had the, physical attributes to get it done. But now that we're actually seeing it, and I understand it's just training camp, but we're seeing the flashes. We're seeing that upside where I think his ceiling, for me personally, has gone a lot higher from when the Vikings drafted him in April. But hey, if you guys believe in JJ McCarthy, I need you guys to flood the comment section on today's video. Type his jersey number, type those 9s. I want this to be the most commented video in Vikings Now history, and us backing our quarterback and backing our potential franchise man in JJ McCarthy. Type those 9s down below. Now, coming up next on the show, other training camp takeaways as a couple of defensive linemen have been showing out for our Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you guys about that here in a second. But first off, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is my favorite sponsor. Shout out to Game Time, the best ticket purchasing app out there right now. And if you guys use promo code ChatSports, we'll get you guys $20 off your first purchase. So terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS. We'll give you guys $20 off your first purchase. Now, if you're looking to go to a Twins game this summer, or any Major League Baseball game this summer, you are in luck, as Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. And prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And I love the views from your seat feature because too many times where I bought a ticket to whatever event it may be, and the view I was buying was not the same view I got when I was heading to the stadium, but you can specifically see where you'd be looking at before you even buy their ticket. And plus, if you guys don't want to get drilled with a bunch of fees right before you check out, Game Time shows you the all-in price right away before you're buying the ticket. So check them out, Game Time app, and use promo code ChatSports for $20 off. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, some unfortunate but not big news at all. Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw were not at practice yesterday, but they were back at practice today. It was just a rest day for both of them. Darrisaw was actually in the weight room working out, so no big issue there. And Jefferson, they just gave him the day off, which I'm okay with. Jefferson, we know what he's about in the football field. No real need to panic there. But I do want to zero in on a defensive lineman here, and that's Jonah Williams. And I'll kind of give myself a slap on the back here. Kind of not good on me. I've been talking about Jonah Williams enough this offseason, but he looked great at training camp, and he actually beat Blake Brandel with a spin move in one-on-one drills, and then he also had a nice run stop in 11-on-11. Big body, very physical defensive tackle, and, after each of those plays, he let go of like a, let's go to the fans. He plays with energy, he plays with passion, and that stuff is so contagious on that side of the football. And if the Vikings get somebody else to step up in the defensive line room, it would be huge because, I think Harrison Phillips is, and I don't mean this as a disrespect to Harrison Phillips, but he is the most mid defensive tackle in the league. He has just been all right. Then you got guys like Jerry Tillery. He's pretty good. Jonathan Bullard. he's solid. But if they could just get another guy to step up like a Jonah Williams, that could be huge for this defensive line. So remember that name, Jonah Williams, as a guy that could absolutely shock the world and really just, turn heads this upcoming season. Now, I do want to also focus in on another wide receiver here, Jayshon Jones. So Jayshon Jones, UDFA out of Maryland. The Vikings gave him a ton of guaranteed money, more than any other receiver got in the UDFA period. And him and J.J. McCarthy, I was already talking about how J.J. and Jalen Naylor have been establishing connection. Well, actually, Jayshon Jones, another player that the Vikings are kind of keeping their eyes on as a wide receiver that can make the roster. I think, probably the Vikes are going to keep 5 or 6 wide receivers. You got Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, then Jalen Naylor will get there, Brandon Powell will get there, but keep your eyes out on Jayshon Jones. Maybe he dukes it out with Trent Sherfield to get that last wide receiver spot, or even a guy like Tristan Jackson. He's been playing well as well. But let's also focus in here on a tight end who, Nick Muse. Nick Muse has looked good. And I was wrong about Nick Muse. I kind of thought he was a waste of a roster spot this past season. And, he's looking good. Obviously, with TJ Hawkinson being on the PUP list right now, the Vikings need somebody in that room to step up. And so far during training camp, it's been Nick Muse. Now, personally, I wish this was N'Keal Harry. I think it would be awesome. Former first-round wide receiver Harry, if he, his first year transitioning from wide receiver to tight end, if he could pop for the Minnesota Vikings, split him out wide. If he's got a receiver on him, you throw it to the top deck. If he's got a linebacker on him, he should just be too fast for that position. But I think the Vikings overall, with TJ Hawkinson being out for at least the first 6 weeks, they should be fine in that tight end room. You still got Josh Oliver, the best run-blocking tight end in the entire league. So you still got Robert Tonyan. So even though Hawk, unfortunate, he will not be able to play for the first 6 weeks, again, just not really too worried about that. But also just want to say thank you guys so much for watching today's show. And if you guys made it to the end, give me a skull down below in the comments section so I know where all the real ones are at and the people that watch this video all the way through. Would really appreciate it. Give me a skull down below. Make it look like US Bank Stadium on game day. Now, if you guys want some Vikings training camp clips on your Twitter timeline, I'm actually tweeting them out all offseason long, leading up to the first regular season game. So give me a follow over there. The handle is @PatSeeps. If you guys do so, I'll give you guys a follow back. As always, Skol Vikes.